Welcome everybody, this is Mr. Storm, and in this video I am going to walk you through creating your first web page. We're going to do the My First Web Page assignment. This should be week three in this class, and I'm actually going to walk you through this entire assignment step by step so that you can follow along and just kind of learn the concepts as we go. This first assignment will be extremely easy because you're going to be doing, you're basically just going to be following along what I'm doing. After this, we're going to use the structure that we build today to do all the other assignments this term. We're just going to continuously add to this web page and make it bigger and better and awesome and all that stuff. And you're just going to keep turning in this same web page as we modify it and add things to it. So it's good to get the structure of this web page uh, correct because everything is going to follow from here. So in my website folder on my desktop, I'm actually going to create a new index.html, so a new text document, and I'm going to write index.html and hit enter. Yes, I do want to change the file extension. All right, so now I have my index.html. I'm going to open that up and make sure that it actually works in my browser, which it does. And I'll go ahead and minimize that. Now I want to actually open it to edit it. So I'm going to right click and go open with, and I'm going to open it with CodeWriter. And if you watch my previous video, which you absolutely should have, you will know that I'm repeating some of the same steps that I performed in the last video, and that's okay because the more you do this, the more it's going to sink in why this stuff is important. So I'm going to create a doc type. I'm going to create an HTML section. I'm going to create a head, and I'm going to create a body. Okay, so that is the basic structure of a website. Everything's good to go. I'm going to save this, go back to my web page, and I'm actually going to refresh it. And nothing changes because I haven't actually made any changes to my web page. I've just structured it so that I can start writing some HTML. All right, now let's go through the list of things. There are 10 things that we have to do in order to build this website, and we actually have already done the 10th thing. If you're looking at the assignment description, the 10th item on that list says the website must be saved as an HTML file and must open in a web browser. Well, we've already done that, okay? So that step is already finished. So let's do the first step. Let's go back up to number 1. It says a title. You must include a title in the head element. So we have our head element here. So let's create a title. And I'm going to call this title My Web Page. Okay. And let's save and go back to our web page and make sure that that actually updated and changed properly. And it did, right? So my web page is now the title of my document. Good. So that step is complete. Now inside the body, I want to start putting the content that's going to go on my web page. And the first thing I want is an H1 with my name in it, David Storm. So that is my name. I'm going to save. And the shortcut for save, by the way, is Control S. And when I go back to my web page, the shortcut for refresh is F5. All right, so now I have my name at the very top of my web page. We're done with the second step. The third step, I want to add a paragraph. So a paragraph element, and that paragraph is going to be a couple sentences about myself. Hello, my name is Mr. Storm, and I am a teacher at Utah Military Academy. I love to teach web development because it is a handy skill. I also develop web pages for fun. Okay, so not the most interesting stuff in the world, but at least it's some content. And I can change that around and add more to it and modify it later if I feel like it. But this is pretty much all we really need right now, just some text on my page. Okay, the next thing I want is, the next thing I want is an H2 with the words my favorite websites. Okay, I also want an H2 with the words my favorite movies. I want an H2 with the words my class schedule. And I want an A2 or an H2 with the words contact me. I want an H2 with the words my favorite YouTube videos. And I want an H2 with the words my favorite songs. Okay, now notice as I was typing all this stuff, these are technically titles on my webpage, right? My name is a title. This is a title of the next section. This is a title of a section. This is a title of a section. And so I'm using title case. And title case means I'm capitalizing each letter in the title except for letters like A or I. Well, I would be capitalized, but A or of or the, sometimes the. It just depends on what you're writing. But mostly all the words are going to be capitalized in your uh, in your in your page. Okay, now this is going to make up the structure for the rest of the web page for the rest of the term. I'm going to go ahead and save this and make sure it all looks good on my web page. Hit F5. All right, now I have all of my H2s are on there, right? Now, what we're going to do is for the next, couple of weeks, up until week 8 at least, we're going to be adding content into these sections, right? We're going to add some links to websites. We're going to add some movie pictures here, pictures for movie posters, and we're going to, we're going to do all kinds of cool stuff in here. We're actually going to create this website and flesh it out and build more onto it. But as long as we have this here, as long as you have this, then you've already completed the assignment. Honestly, if you look at the assignment description, you'll see that those 10 items that we've put in there, those 10 items have been completed and are on the web page. So once you are at this point and your web page is exactly, not exactly like this, because these two lines are going to be different. But once your web page looks like this, then you are ready to move on to the next week of content, right? This class is probably going to be the easiest class you've ever taken. I'm just going to be honest with you, because learning this stuff is just as simple as typing out English. And if you know how to type English, then you're good to go. The elements themselves aren't very complicated, right? Adding a new element at this point is literally just as simple as learning how to write the keyword for the element. So at this point, we can write any elements we want, Um, and as long as we're following this structure where I have my doc type at the top, I have on line 2, I have HTML open tag. And then inside on line 3, I have my head tag, which is indented 1. On line 4, inside my head element, I have indented twice and then title, and then so on and so forth. As long as you're following this structure, it'll be really easy for you to see what's on your web page and be able to find specific elements and modify them or make changes or whatnot. All right, so again, I'm going to save this one more time just to make sure everything's clear and saved and everything's copacetic. And then I'm going to go ahead and turn in this assignment. The way you want to turn it in is you want to navigate to your index.html and you want to actually turn in that file for your web page. I need your index.html file, okay? I do not want you to try to turn in anything other than your index.html file for this assignment. As we get more complex and we add more things to it, we're gonna have to actually zip our files together and upload extra stuff. But for right now, the index.html file is what I want. And once you turn that in, you are good to go. You're done for the week and you can move on to next week, all right? If you haven't gone through the exercises and you haven't practiced with W3 schools, then you need to do that. That's very important. It's a very important part of this class. All right. So go forth, learn HTML, practice, build web pages, and I will see you next week for the next part of this course.